Hello students, Michael Sanchez, violin teacher here. Hope you guys are having a good day. As promised, we're doing a violin technique class today, and the topic is going to be on vibrato. So a lot of you guys out there maybe have tried vibrato, maybe you guys have really struggled with it, maybe you guys don't even know what it is, so I'll be sort of covering all that today. So for those of you guys that don't know what vibrato is, it's basically the shaking of the hand to create a beautiful sound on the violin. Without vibrato, you can sort of just get like a sort of basic sound, and it's much better when you get that nice vibrato. So here's me playing with no vibrato. Or here's me with vibrato. So it really adds a lot to your playing. But a lot of students really struggle with it. So we're going to be going over some tips, some step-by-step tips of what you guys should be doing to really practice it. So first, before we sort of go into the steps, I want to just talk a little bit about just the process and sort of things that I've seen a lot of. A lot of students sort of think they can't learn vibrato because they're too old, or they sort of just can't do it because their hands are too brittle, or just I've heard every excuse in the book. Learning vibrato is all about techniques and fundamentals. So if you're able to actually have a good setup with your left hand, you're going to have a much easier time learning vibrato than somebody that sort of has all these bad habits. So first, let's analyze to make sure you guys don't have these bad habits, as that's sort of the key to sort of first learn how to do vibrato properly. So the first thing is I want to make sure you guys are not using your arm to sort of force any sort of violin notes. So I see all the time when students have certain notes, they sort of force their arm to do something different. Like if they have sort of a big reach for the four, they might be sort of too low to start, so like they have to sort of reach with their arm, and it feels comfortable to do that, but unfortunately that really hinders vibrato, so we don't want to do that. So sort of make sure and shake your arm as you're playing just to see where you're at with that. That's going to be really important. The next thing I want to make sure you guys are not doing is pressing too hard into the fingerboard. So all the time students do that, where they're only supposed to press this much, but they press way too hard. So if you see fingers sort of pop up in the air when you're playing violin and trying to do vibrato, that's a sign that you probably are pressing too hard, and that's going to really restrict your vibrato. So hopefully if you guys are sort of making sure that you're not tense, your hand is high enough is another one. It's going to really sort of get us lay a nice foundation that we need to start to learn vibrato. By the way, if you guys post on this post, you're going to have a chance to win a beautiful dog rockin' rosin. So I've given away 2 of these this week, and hopefully you guys will post a comment for a chance to win. So just any comment, you could say how you're doing today, how you enjoy the violin, if you have any questions. Actually, we'll take questions at the very end for anybody that's watching, so feel free to do that. Okay, so let's assume that our arm is sort of relaxed, our hand is high enough. Let's assume that we're not pressing too hard. So the first step to learn vibrato is to work on consistency. So to be able to do that, we have to decide on which vibrato we're going to actually attempt. It's either going to be us doing arm vibrato or wrist vibrato. The way that I like to explain this is that I think arm vibrato is much better because it allows potentially more consistency, whereas wrist vibrato is sort of harder to do consistent. Consistency is really important because it makes that vibrato sound nice and luscious, nice and consistent. The difference would be this is non-consistent vibrato, sort of a little bit higher waves or bigger waves, but we want it to be just consistent, more like this. And in my opinion, that can be done a lot easier with the whole arm and not as easy with the wrist. But there's some really good violinists out there that do really good wrist vibrato, including Itzhak Perlman, all these other very good violinists. So it's not impossible, and definitely you can do it that way. But typically when students want to do wrist vibrato, they typically, what I've seen, is they're more people that sort of force things. They have sort of bad technique, bad habits. So if you're that type of person that's more like trying to do the wrist, just try to really pay attention to some of those things I mentioned at the beginning. All right, so let's assume that we want to learn forearm vibrato. I think that's the best way to learn vibrato. Okay, so we're not going to press too hard into the fingerboard. I want you guys to aim at the very, very edge of the finger right before the nail as far as putting your finger down. And I want to make sure that you guys are pressing down minimally. So to make sure that you guys are doing this properly, let's go ahead and just take a third finger on the A string. And I want you guys to pizzicato the note. And I want you guys to notice that ring sound. Okay? If you're getting more of a dead sound, then you're not quite pressing down hard enough, but most likely you are getting the ring sound. Okay, now what I want you guys to try to do is try to press less to where you're still getting that ring sound. Can you kind of lessen the pressure a little bit? You still get that? Okay. Once you're there, sort of keep the same pressure, keep the same hand position, okay? And then what I want you guys to do is focus on moving the hand, or actually, let me put it this way. I want you guys to look right here at your hand and bring the hand directly at you, not letting the hand open up at all as you're moving the hand back and forth. Because vibrato is based on a movement back and forth, and we're trying to create that right now. This is actually where it gets sort of challenging. Technically, guitar vibrato is this way, so people that play guitar totally are used to sort of grabbing the string, but vibrato is actually this way. So that's why I want you guys to focus on this part of the hand and bring the hand directly at you. And any sort of opening up is sort of a bad habit. That means you're probably pressing too hard, which we don't want to do. So we have the finger down on the A string. We're focusing on that part of the hand. And I want you guys to make sure you're not pressing, grabbing too hard with the thumb and the hands. The pinch between the thumb and the hand here should be very light. So light in where you could easily shift, easily move the hand and sort of feel that smoothness of the neck. So a lot of students sort of grab too tight where they couldn't move. And that's going to sort of set them up to have more struggle when they're doing this idea with vibrato. Okay, so one thing you guys could do if you're not sure if you're doing this right, go ahead and set your violin up, hold the violin with no hands. And I want you just to glide your hand back and forth so you can just really feel the neck of the instrument without any sort of restriction. Okay, are you guys able to do this? Okay, no restriction, right? Okay, so now try to find again that pressure that we found earlier, that minimal pressure. And we have that minimal sort of pinch, right? Minimal pinch, minimal pressure. Okay, make sure the elbow isn't forced. Okay, now again, I'm sort of coming back to it. Focus on the hand and bring the hand directly at you. Okay, I only want you going about this far. Okay, so we don't want to go too far, or we don't want to do this. This is a lot of students like to do this, like they already want to be able to do it. So we don't need to do that yet. We just want a nice rock, just sort of like a pendulum. Okay, so this is sort of how it should look. This is what I'm trying to get you guys to do. I don't want you guys to do this. See, I'm opening up the hand. Focus on that hand coming directly at you. Okay? Now, if you're doing it properly, the hand from the fingers down, so anything right in here as far as the hand, should be very relaxed. Okay, the number one bad habit of bad vibrato is students tense up something from here on down. Everything I'm circling right now, there's tension, okay? So if you were asleep, if you were taking a nap, pretend like you are, how would your hand feel? Okay, go ahead and just sort of feel your hand. Does it feel real relaxed and jiggly? There's no veins popping out, there's no hand hardness. So that's what we got to get rid of. So sort of feel how it feels with no violin in your hands, just sort of how the hand feels when it's most relaxed. And then I want you guys to get back into the position we found earlier and do the same thing and feel that hand. Do you feel that same relaxed state of your hand from the fingers down? If you don't, then there's some sort of tension going on. So you might be doing the arm thing we talked about, you might be over pressing, you might be pinching too tight. Okay, so one of these things are happening where if you feel that in your hand, that's what we're trying to avoid. And this is actually why you guys might be really struggling with your vibrato. Okay, so we have the pinch, we have the hand high, we have minimal pressure, our hand is relaxed, feels like jello, and we're trying to bring that hand directly at us. We're not opening up the hand. We're aiming at the very edge, right before the nail. Okay, assuming, let's say you guys are sort of at the point now where you're getting that motion, which to start, you're going to want to get this sort of motion. Don't try to overdo it. Don't try to go like you're trying to do all these things. That's one of the big bad habits of vibrato is students try to overdo it. They want to do it now. It's like the United States, people say that people that live in the US, they need it now, everything they overspend, like what they make. It's like I need everything right now. So it's sort of the same concept. It's like you want to learn it right now. And I would love for you just to be able to learn it right now. But it's going to take sort of a few days at least to sort of get that foundation. And I normally say to students it takes about 18 days of regularly practicing this. But technically that's not that long, right? It's less than a month. So if you were able to just do exactly what I'm showing you today for 18 days straight, just working on this motion, building that muscle memory, you're definitely going to get vibrato. I know you are. I've seen it every time. Okay, so I don't want you guys to overdo it. So everything I'm going to show you guys from here on out is only if you've been already practicing vibrato and you guys are already sort of getting it. If you were just new to it, I wouldn't go any farther than what I just showed you. I would just practice that motion as much as possible. Sometimes it's hard for students to do the bow and what I just showed you if they sort of have bad coordination. So if you have trouble patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time, then you're probably going to have trouble with everything I showed you plus the bow. So if that's the case, then you're just going to want to sort of work on it with just the left hand to start, just to get the motion. Don't overcomplicate it by bringing the bow right away, because that could easily make things more challenging. You might be grabbing the bow harder as you're sort of trying to do this, which you don't want to do. The hand should be relaxed as ever. There's no change in the right hand regarding what you do in the right hand, right? Good. All right, so from this point forward, we're going to be doing a little bit more intermediate advanced concepts. And by the way, if you guys post on this post, you have a chance to win this dog rockin' rosin. So I've been giving just free stuff away for people that attend my classes. Tomorrow we're doing a class, by the way, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. So hope to see you guys there and hope you guys enjoy the rest of this class. And by the way, at the end, I'll be picking the winner. Okay, so more advanced concepts. So the biggest thing is that once you get that gist of that nice, consistent motion, try to focus on the last wave. So many students go too fast, sort of learning the wave, and then the very last part of it, they sort of just, how do you call it? They don't do the last wave. So this would be incorrect. Like that. So we want to do so throughout everything I'm showing you, same concepts as I showed you just earlier. The hand is very relaxed. I'm minimal pressure. I'm at the very edge of the finger right before the nail. I'm not pinching too hard. I don't have any arm tension. So nothing has changed here. It just might sound like it's changing because I'm going faster. But once we get in this position where I'm trying to show you guys, you're going to be able to go fast because there's nothing restricting you. If that makes sense. Okay, so work on that wave. I like to do 8 per bow. 4 per bow is fine. This would be 4 per bow. And speeding up to. Okay. 8. Let's do a progression of 4 per bow. Let's do 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then let's do a progression, similar, but do 8. Third finger on the A string. Like that. So if you guys are able to do that, that's going to turn into eventually. Good. Okay, so working on waves per bow is really, really helpful. I suggest doing this sort of the beginning part of your practice sessions. Normally just for a couple minutes, even if you do that, that's going to really add up. But you have to make sure that you guys are working on the fundamentals. You can't overdo like doing, I want to do 16 waves per bow, and then other things suffer, like the hand starts to press. It's amazing just how hands and bodies want to work different when things get more complicated. Technically, it's like that with, even with me. I've been playing violin for 26 years, and when I want to learn or play a really, really hard concerto, there's things that happen in my body that sort of want to tense up because it's really, really hard what I'm trying to learn. And that applies to every level. So you're never just going to hit a level where it's like you're just always perfectly relaxed and can do everything perfect. If you are, then you're sort of not pushing yourself. So what I'm trying to say is just that you guys, no matter what happens, are going to struggle with tension in some capacity. Some people more than others. But, you know, like for example, if I try to do, you know, really, really hard pass, this is, I don't know, this used to be harder for me to do, like ricochet. But when I used to do that, I would tense up my hand or do something different with my arm. Even though I technically normally do it fine, it's easy to sort of tense up when something's new. So don't add too much on if you're sort of at this level. Don't think that the only way to have success is to do exactly the hardest parts of this lesson, like to do 16 per bow or 8 per bow. But eventually, yeah, 16 per bow is sort of the ideal, which would be, I'll do 4. I'll do 16, 16, 16, 16. It would be, like that. And then it's just a matter of going faster with your bow, so it would be, that was actually 32, so it would be, and then to make it harder, it's actually maybe changing fingers, but nothing changes regarding pressure or idea of what you're doing, what I showed you earlier. So just because I'm adding fingers on doesn't mean that I tense up all of a sudden when I change to 1 to 3 or do the 4. If I do that, that's actually when I'm going to get a bad vibrato. So if you guys struggle to keep your finger angles back, if you struggle to keep your knuckles up, if you struggle not to overpress, if you struggle to pinch too hard, all these things lead to a lot of problems with your violin playing, but definitely vibrato. So I never really mention vibrato as far as like, hey, you need to learn vibrato now. Like normally students bring it up, and most of the time I hope that it's at the point where they have their fundamentals down really tight. Because, yeah, I mean, if you struggle with, for example, keeping your finger angles back, then just, you know, if you're here, for example, instead of here, this is wrong, this is incorrect. So right now, there's nothing I can do to reach that 4 other than to really push hard and sort of force it, okay? Naturally, my hand is going to force, my hand's going to get tighter. Naturally, my hand's going to become more vein-like, more harder to actually be flexible. So naturally, I mean, just with that one fundamental of you guys not keeping finger angles back is going to lead to not as ideal vibrato. So try to pay attention. One way to test finger angles is to play first finger on the E string and then put a 4th finger down on the G string and leave your first finger down and see if you can actually find both of those notes without actually lifting your fingers. So first finger on E string, 4th finger on G. I'm not moving my hand. It should be a little sharp. So be. So can you do that? So to be able to do that, it should look like this: 4th finger and first finger. Got to get those knuckles up. So if you're not able to do what I just showed you, most likely you're going to struggle with vibrato because there's going to be some combination of notes that comes up that's going to be a challenge, and you're not going to have that sort of flexibility in your hand. So finger angles is huge when it comes to vibrato. But technically, if you have all these things set up, if you have your vibrato set up with your finger angles back, your knuckles up, lack of pressure, lack of pinch, no arm tension, no hand tension as you're bowing, then you can potentially really grow fast learning vibrato. I would say within 18 days. Eventually, you can do scales with it. So even do 4th finger vibrato. So why is 4th finger vibrato harder than normal finger vibrato? The reason is because it really takes having that good finger angle And also students tend to hog the string with 4. So instead of putting their 4th finger down right on the edge of the string, they tend to sort of hog the string, and that requires more pressure down. So when there's more pressure down into the string, that creates more hand tension, that creates more overall problems with vibrato. So that's why students struggle with 4th finger vibrato. But technically it's just a finger, right? It should just be like all the other ones. But yeah, so this is me having a tense 4. Sort of hard to vibrato, but if I keep it relaxed, nothing's different than I showed you earlier. But yeah, if you aim at the very, very edge of the finger right before the nail, that also helps. If you already have a decent vibrato but you want to improve it, that's a way to really get it to the next level. So when you place, because a lot of times students just really force that 4, but if you just aim on the very edge and get that intonation, so that would be more. And a lot of times students really struggle to do vibrato up on the higher register, so you know, up in 7th position and up. The reason for that is exactly everything I showed you. Students tend to sort of grab harder. They tend to not really focus on the edge of the fingers. They press too hard, and that makes it harder to get that really high vibrato. So instead of getting, so this would be sort of a tense vibrato. It's much better when you aim on the very edge of the finger and have the relaxed hand. So that could never be done if I was tense. So just broke some glass there. All right, hope that helps. I'm going to take some questions from the audience. So if you guys want to ask a question or two, feel free to do that. I'm giving away a free rock and rosin to anybody that comments on today's video. So hope you guys have been enjoying my group classes. Or sorry, my live classes. We're actually doing group classes starting next week. So if you guys are interested in that, we're going to be posting information about that on our Adult Violin Learning page. It's facebook.com/groups/Adult Violin Learners. You can also just put in the search bar on Facebook, Adult Violin Learners, and it should come up. We'd love for you to join. All right, so let me see if I can find any questions from you guys. And yeah, as I did yesterday, you guys can see my cats as I scroll. So that's my cat Forte, and you guys just saw my cat Snowflake. Wow, there's not many comments. I'm surprised. You guys must not want to win a rock and rosin. Or unless there's something I'm missing. I don't know. It seems to only be about 8 comments. Okay, so no questions. I see Fran said Ricochet was amazing. Appreciate that. Okay. Well, if you guys don't have any questions, then maybe I'll just wrap it up with a few sort of statements about vibrato. So yeah, I really think you guys can learn it. I think, you know, I don't just think, I know everybody can learn it. I've seen adults age 60 plus learn it from scratch. You know, technically younger kids might have an easier time, but that's just because they're sort of not tense of people. Like older people tend to sort of tense up like, oh my gosh, I'm learning vibrato, whereas kids are just like, oh, whatever, vibrato. So it's not so much based on the hand, it's more based on just sort of mental. So try to understand that a lot of this is based on mental, and then also just getting into a routine. So if you guys, you know, just sort of practice vibrato randomly here, and then a month later you do it randomly here, you're not going to really grasp it as much as if you do just a little bit of practice every day or every other day, just doing the concepts, trying to just get that hand as relaxed as possible, trying to do everything at once. It's sort of similar to juggling, right? So when you learn to juggle, I don't know how to juggle, but just the concept, you know, you start with 2, right? You can probably easily just throw 2 balls, no problem. Then you add 1 more, and that can be a little bit challenging, but you sort of get that, and then you add another one. So that's sort of what you're doing potentially. If you're new to vibrato, you have to sort of learn one thing at a time. You have to learn, you know, pressing down lightly is going to be probably challenging. Not pinching, not having the hand high enough, that's huge. So just sort of work on one thing at a time, and eventually you guys will really, I think, grasp it. Great. All right. Well, let's pick a winner of the contest. So let's see. You guys are going to have a chance to win. Many of you here. So let's see. The winner of the rock and rosin is, random pick here, Cess Winstead. Congratulations, Cess. You just won. So you can email me at michael@superiorviolins.com. Would love to send you the Rockin' Rosin. And for any guys that are interested in continuing to learn the violin, I will be posting a class tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So if you have any questions about the violin, feel free to post right here on Facebook. And also we'll be posting this class on YouTube later on. So hope you guys have a great day. And if you have any questions, you want to reach me directly, you can email me at michael@superiorviolins.com. Our websites, just to let you guys know, violintutorpro.com is our learning to play violin website. We have a lot of teachers that go on there and help out with our forums, which have tons and tons of material in it. And then our Superior Violins website is a site that has instruments, bows, accessories, all things I recommend. I do all the setups. Well, we have two shops. We have a shop in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then we have a shop in California. So we do personal setups and make sure we ship out really good quality instruments. So if you guys are in need of a violin or an upgrade and you want to try something out, feel free to email me, michael@superiorviolins.com. Hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys improve your vibrato from this class, and we'll see you hopefully tomorrow. Have a good night.